If an opening is created for a religious voice to be heard in the public arena, that includes all voices, and they may not all be Christian.
Following a controversial prayer made by a woman identified as a priestess of the goddess at a Tulsa City Council meeting, some Oklahomans, including Governor Kevin Stitt, calling the prayer satanic. But as Fox 25's Tanya Martyrzitsky explains, the city councilor who invited the priestess argues it's actually paganism.
A prayer to open up last week's Tulsa City Council meeting made its rounds on social media over the weekend. Priestess Amy McAdams, who's pagan, gave the invocation using the character Medusa from Greek mythology, who has snakes for hair and known for her wrath.
Champions of equality and sacred rage, I call to Medusa, monstrous hero of the oppressed and abused. I open the eye of Medusa, the stare that petrifies injustice.
People, including Governor Kevin Stitt, calling the prayer satanic. City Councilor Krista Patrick, who's also pagan, says her religion is not satanic. Paganism is nature-based and follows the harvest and moon cycle. She says she's sad to hear people misconstrue the message.
If for anyone that actually listened to the prayer, it asked for the strength to fight injustice so that we may achieve equality and peace for all people. And there's nothing evil about those concepts.
I spoke with the priestess on Facebook, Amy McAdams. She says the story of Medusa is actually her fighting for justice, especially women. On Facebook, she tells me, I think where a lot of people get stuck is with the word serpent. Many Christians equate any reference to snakes or serpents directly with Satan, but I am referencing the serpents that make up Medusa's hair. This is classical mythology. Before Christians, snakes were ancient symbols of healing and transformation. Stevie Charas, who saw the video, says this was not done right at all. She says she was once part of the Rotary leadership for invocations. She says it's supposed to be neutral.
Really, I mean, it felt very satanic to me.
Patrick says people from all religions give the invocation.
That everybody could feel like this is their city hall.
Adams says this criticism highlights a bigger issue. The Christian nationalist movement is growing, especially here in Oklahoma. We already have Bibles being pushed in public schools. This is directly taking spiritual liberties and freedoms away from minority religions and those who choose no religion. But I give the invocation that I was invited to give, and simply by being pagan in public, I am somehow threatening religious liberties of those Christian nationalists. I'm Tanya Martyrzitsky, Fox 25 News.
While that religious display sparking controversy, state and municipal governments are no strangers to religious fights. For example, there have been multiple instances where state leaders have tried to pass bills regarding religion in Oklahoma. Fox 25's Paige Taylor breaks down some of the battles we've seen in the past few years.
Oklahoma leaders have been vocal about religion in the state, most recently after a woman identified as a priestess of the goddess spoke during the Tulsa City Council meeting invocation. Leaders, including the governor and state superintendent, have posted their feelings about it, referencing Satan and Satanism.
When the government creates a forum for expression, like prayers before city council meetings or allowing groups to display their symbols on the town green during the holiday season, that means all religious groups get that right of access. And I think some officials in Oklahoma are a little bit confused about that principle.
After the 2015 Oklahoma Supreme Court ruling ordered the removal of a privately funded Ten Commandments monument on the ground of the Oklahoma State Capitol, in 2018, some Oklahoma legislators were trying to pass a bill labeling the Ten Commandments as historical to allow it to be displayed on public property. Earlier this year, lawmakers tried to pass Senate Bill 36 to allow chaplains in public schools. Also this year, Governor Stitt signed a bill which allows school credit for students to attend off-campus religious education classes. The Satanic Temple said it would be offering the Satanic Temple's Hail program to Oklahoma schools, saying, quote, "The Satanic Temple believes that public schools should be entirely free from religious influence. Nevertheless, if other religious groups insist on forcing their way into our schools through legislation, we will ensure our members' children enjoy the same opportunities as those of other religious backgrounds," end quote. State Superintendent Ryan Walters posted a video saying Judeo-Christian values are essential in Oklahoma and he would not allow Satanism to come into Oklahoma schools.
Oklahoma is one of a handful of states right now, with Texas and Louisiana being the others, that are in the grip of a virulent form of Christian nationalism. These leaders believe that they can somehow use the government to show preference to their preferred form of Christianity. And I want to be clear about that. It's their preferred form.
Oklahoma Attorney General Getner Drummond posting to social media saying if Governor Stitt and Ryan Walters get their way, this priestess of the goddess could have her own religious school, funded by your tax dollars. I'm fighting to protect our religious liberty by ensuring our tax dollars do not fund this kind of sacrilege. Paige Taylor, Fox 25 News.
Following the controversy at Tulsa's city council meeting, we went back and looked at the invocations given at Oklahoma City council meetings. Last week, the council welcomed a chaplain from the Oklahoma City Police Department.
We're going to get started this morning with an invocation by Kanan Goldstein, a chaplain for the Oklahoma City Police Department, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Matt Hinkle. Please stand as you are able.
Blessed Holy One, we are gathered today united in purpose and spirit to attend to the needs of our community. Let us take a moment to pause, breathe, and reflect on how wonderful and powerful it is to have the opportunity to work together for the well-being of our great city. We ask that you grant us wisdom in our discussions so that the decisions made reflect justice and compassion. May our hearts remain open as we listen to each voice, honoring the unique contributions that we all bring. Lord, guide the work before us, for every decision holds the power to create a difference. May our efforts here today reflect your wisdom and uphold the trust placed in us to serve our community. Amen.
We reached out to Mayor David Holt's office to learn about the invocations process for Oklahoma City Council meetings. We were told the mayor's office handles the scheduling, reaches out to the different faith communities for volunteers. According to the mayor's office, the only guidance is to make sure it's diverse and representative of our community. So they've welcomed religious leaders from various faiths throughout the years. Back in August, they welcomed an imam from the Islamic Society of Greater Oklahoma City.
Lord, grant them heart of wisdom so they may produce creative ideas, inspired solutions, and sound decisions to issues old and new. Lord, grant them sound counsel and good judgment to help them make good decisions. Lord, bestow upon them greater knowledge, understanding, and power so they may live skillfully and give back what is good and excellent to our community.
After reviewing the recordings of the Oklahoma City Council meetings, we found between February 13th and that council meeting in August, all of the invocations were given by pastors from churches of various denominations. One was also given by a pastor with the Oklahoma City Police Department. It's also important to note these invocations are technically given before the city council meeting is gavelled in. Over the years, we've also seen the Supreme Court weigh in on whether prayer is allowed in public meetings. Back in 2008, the court sided with the town of Greece in New York, where the Americans United for Separation of Church and State sued the town, saying that the town violated the First Amendment by allowing too many Christian prayers at their public meetings. In 2014, the Supreme Court ruled that local governments are free to allow uncensored prayers so long as it does not violate the First Amendment. However, public officials who have tax-paid positions are not allowed to schedule a prayer at government functions or open government meetings. The Oklahoma House and Senate both have rules that regulate how praying works in meetings. These rules recently updated. We got a full breakdown from last session. In the House, a chaplain is supposed to attend the beginning of each day's session and open it with a prayer. The timing of the prayer is left to the discretion of the majority floor leader. In the Senate, the order of how each daily session starts is decided by the majority floor leader and includes prayer, executive nominations, and general order. The Capitol also incorporating religion in its government by having a personal pastor. That's how it works. Capitol Commission places trained state ministers at Capitol buildings across the nation and minister to legislators and staff. Ronnie Wilson is our state minister, has served in multiple leadership positions, including a parachurch organization that supports Bible curriculum in public schools. He also hosts a monthly Bible study and has a podcast where he invites public officials to pray and talk about the Bible. Oklahoma is not the only state to have someone do a controversial prayer at a public meeting. Back in 2016, a satanic prayer was held at Pensacola City Council meeting in Florida. The response escalated to the point where police had to escort people out of the meeting. The prayer was delivered by a member of the Satanic Temple. He said that City Council brought this issue upon themselves.
You to do the job of violating my constitutional right to freedom of religion. All right. Now, what's happened here has not been any curses. There haven't been any curses. There've just been some words of wisdom.
After the prayer, community members spoke at the podium questioning why the council allowed Seward to deliver his invocation in the first place. However, Seward returned to the podium and sparked a conversation about invocation rights. That's your big story breakdown.